Welcome back to Harbor. With an historic restructuring of this country's national security apparatus, President Donald Trump has authorized his political strategist, the aforementioned former editor of Breitbart, Steve Bannon, to join White House National Security Council meetings as a permanent regular member of the NSC. With Bannon's elevation, Trump is also changing two key roles: the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the military, and the director of national intelligence, who will no longer attend NSC meetings on a regular basis. According to the executive order, that means that the top military and intelligence advisors of the NSC will attend when, quote, issues pertaining to their responsibilities and expertise are being discussed, whereas Steve Bannon will be at all the meetings. Here's how former Defense Secretary Robert Gates reacted to that decision yesterday.
My biggest concern is there are actually, under the law, only two statutory advisors to the National Security Council, and that's the Director of Central Intelligence, or the DNI, and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I think pushing them out of the National Security Council meetings, except when their specific issues are at stake, is a big mistake.
Well, former National Security Advisor and Director Susan Rice issued a blunt reaction to the shakeup. This is stone cold crazy, and Senator John McCain slammed the move as radical.
The appointment of Mr. Bannon is something which is a radical departure from any National Security Council in history.
I'm joined right now by a roundtable tonight: John Brabender, a Republican strategist; Jay Newton-Small, a contributor to Time Magazine; and Jason Johnson's editor of The Root. Gentlemen and lady, this is for everybody to discuss, but I'll tell you, putting a guy or person on the national security staff in that council with the Joint Chiefs sitting here, the Defense Secretary sitting there, the Secretary of Treasury, the Secretary of State, all. So what do you guys think we ought to do? And the one guy in the room, the big bull in the room, is going to be Steve Bannon. So our foreign policy is now going to be under his influence, if not control. John Brabender.
Yeah, first of all,
this is weird.
Yeah, but you got to look at everything under a completely different context, and that is what type of president this is going to be. First of all, I agree. If I was as a political operative, they brought me in and put me on there, I'd be the first to say they should do drug testing at the White House. But Steve Bannon is a former naval officer, has a master's degree in national security service from Georgetown University.
Suppose Hillary Clinton won and put Sid Blumenthal in the National Security Council. What would you think of that?
Well, look, let's be clear.
Oh, come on.
Let's be clear. Axelrod went to the meetings there. We had Robert Gibbs go to the meetings there. What Trump is doing is Trump has
those guys are not ideologues.
But Trump has three advisors: Kellyanne, Jared, and Steve Bannon. And what he's starting to do is saying, these are the people I trust, these are the people I listen to.
Okay, you're not answering why the national security. That's not about politics. It's not political advice. It's national security advice, Jay. I'll be back to you.
And the crazy thing to me is the way that Sean Spicer today during the briefing tried to sort of say, oh, but, you know, we're excluding the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the DNI to save them time, because they're busy people and they might have other things to do. And when the subject matter doesn't pertain to them, like, let's say it's a flu epidemic, they don't need to spend their busy time.
But Steve Bannon has to be there at all times.
But Steve Bannon should be there at all times.
This is an upgrade. I'll tell you one thing. Getting is not just a top security clearance. It's being in charge of national security.
Yes.
This is big stuff for this guy. And he's basically an ideologue from Breitbart.
Ideologue from Breitbart. You can draw a line from Breitbart to white nationalists, to the Ku Klux Klan, to various other terrorist groups. These are terrorist groups in America, and we basically have a terrorist sympathizer now in the National Security Council. That is dangerous to our country, that is dangerous to our national security, and this is a man who believes and wants and thinks that America needs to go to war with Islam. That is not what we need.
How do you know that? Flesh that out.
Because he said so. It was a 2014 article in Time Magazine. He gave a speech at the Vatican. He said, look, we are entering a bloody, dangerous age. And he talked about how they have to fight back against Islamic jihad and Islamic terrorism. This was more extreme than your average
How did he get a platform at the Vatican to give that speech?
There was this whole council on, it was a conservative Christian group that he was invited there to speak. Okay. That's what he believes.
Anyway, the New York Times reports that Bannon oversaw the drafting of the president's temporary travel ban, saying that Bannon, quote, saw barring refugees as vital to shoring up Mr. Trump's political base. Well, the order even caught members of Trump's own cabinet by surprise, including Secretary of Defense Jim Mad Dog Mattis and the Secretary of Homeland Security John Kelly. Jake?
Well, I was just going to say that you have to go back to literally FDR's time to see another precedent of a political advisor being given so much access to the
Harry
National
Hopkins.
Security Counter. Exactly. I mean, you've had other political people given access to it on occasion, like Axelrod or Gibbs, but to give blanket access, to name him to the council, you have to go all the way back to World War II for that kind of thing.
Where's this going, ideologically? I'm going to give you a moment here. You got a minute. Tell us where, it's a lot of time on television. You're using it up. Ideologically,
It hasn't started yet.
what should we expect from Trump, given this trajectory of what he did over the weekend, what he did by giving Bannon this power seat?
Here's the part that I find amazing. What has he done so far that he has not said during the campaign he was going to do that America voted to make him president? The only problem is he's doing it quicker than anybody thought. I mean, the real criticism is, my gosh, not only is he doing it, he's doing it right now. I mean, tomorrow he's going to make a major announcement on who the next Supreme Court pick is going to be. And so, you know, we said about trying to shore up his base. I guarantee you there is no buyer remorse of the people who voted for Trump. The second thing is, quit thinking of him like you thought of every president before him. The reason that a billionaire galvanized blue-collar Democrats around the country is they really thought this guy's going to shake things up and do things differently. That is a different playbook. That's what he's doing, and it's not hurting him politically at all.
Do you think it's helping the country, what he's doing on the ban? Do you think that ban helps our country, its security?
Well, I think that the people who voted for him, and again,
no,
he was a good president.
What do you, John Brabender, think?
Here's what I think. I think that there's a lot of logic to it. The problem I had is that...
Do you believe in it?
I think the mistake they made was not to take the time to say, here is why we're going to do it, and do it on their own terms. It's when they throw things out there and they get interpreted, misinformed.
Ohio, Georgia, North Carolina. When Donald Trump talks about bringing jobs back to this country, that's when he's winning. This is chaos. Donald Trump didn't win this election because of his base. He won it because of those people on the fringes who were like, look, I don't care about the wall. I don't care about immigration. I want to hear about Verizon. I want to hear about Ford. The more he spends time on this, the more he loses that edge. He loses those swing voters that made him president.
By the way, it's a binary choice. It was him or Hillary. So don't oversell the love of Trump.
Well,
there's a lot of hate of Hillary.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Around the edges, there was. I didn't like it. I didn't share it, but because I knew her. But there's a lot of that.
There was a third-party candidate.
Who?
Two.
Yeah. Well, you interviewed him, so.
Oh, Gary Johnson?
Yeah,
I think I
still
vetted
time.
him
I don't think you can
thoroughly.
count it now.
He didn't know anything about the world. Anyway, the roundtable's staying with us, and up next, these three will tell me something I don't know.